Stocks closing at near record highs following an upbeat jobs report. According to the Labor Department, U.S. employers added just under 560,000 jobs. That's up from 278,000 the month before. Right now, the unemployment rate is at 5.8%, still well short of pre-pandemic levels when unemployment set at 3.5%. Now, the jobs report was good news for the stock market, which ended the week near record territory, closing at 34756, 34,756. Finishing just below its all-time high close that hit last month. A new book out this week says the soaring stock market is a sign of things deeply wrong with this economy. Economist Eeckhout, author of The Profit Paradox, is joining me now. Thanks for being with us, Jan.
It's my pleasure.
All right, so what is the problem with the soaring stock market and why is it bad for the economy?
Well, the stock market is only for a few firms. It's about 300 to 400 of those out of the 6 million firms that we have in the U.S. economy. And what happens to the most successful firms, those that have the highest profits and therefore the highest stock market valuations, is that most of them get those high valuations from the fact that they actually face too little competition. They don't face competition in their markets, and that means that they can charge higher prices. And this has far-reaching effects on the macroeconomy. It affects innovation, it affects startups, it affects jobs and wages. And that's really what the problem is. It's not that, say a Google is paying its workers or treating its workers badly. It's that it has a macroeconomic effect because these firms are so large and dominant. And so the question is, why do we care about this? Well, we care about this because you basically pay too much for nearly everything, from beer to a pacemaker, for example. But it's more deep than that because innovators can't get their startups from the ground. Business owners who are not those, of course, in these very large firms get squeezed by these gigantic firms.
So is the cycle going to get worse? I mean, companies are not going to stop focusing on profit. Is there something that we can do about it?
The problem is that, as a society, as an economy, we want more competition. A market economy is basically built on the tenet that there should be competition. And so in order to get more competition, we need, society to intervene. Like we have antitrust authorities that can do that. You want more competition in the market for the telecoms, for AT&T, for example, because we only have 3 of those companies. And it's hard to do, but there are ways in which we've proven methods that work. Now, whether that's politically feasible, that's another issue because, as you know, these large firms, these dominant firms, they also use their influence in Washington to try and get regulation that is lenient on them.
All right. While I have you, I do want to ask you about the landmark G7 deal today to institute a 15% global corporate tax so giant multinational companies can't move to offshore havens to hide profits. What impact will this have?
Well, I mean, that's a great kind of move, I think, for coordination because, globally, we see that the economy is now so intertwined. We really need a global response to all the problems. I don't think that taxation is going to be the problem to the dominance of these firms, but these dominant firms are global firms. And the fact that there is now discussion and debate about what happens to their profits and how we're basically going to coordinate as different nations to avoid, that they move to tax havens. I think that's a great move forward, and it's going to help in basically have an international coordination.
All right. Eeckhout, thank you so much for taking the time here on NewsNation.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.